I missed the bus. Oh, I missed the bus. Oh, I missed the bus. And that's something I'll never, ever, ever do again.
Oh, wow, you're going to lose it right at the beginning.
I think so. I'm a little bit scared about how this episode's going to go, but we'll see.
Right. This is Barely Furcasting, featuring Taebyn and Injured Nerves audio production. Welcome once again to our podcast. Yes, I am. Hello. Well, hello. Moo. You're not Moo. You're Taebyn. Hello. Good morning.
Oh,
good afternoon.
I get confused.
Or good evening, or whatever day it is, or whatever time of day it is. To all you furs out in the Podiverse. Well, I am Barely Normal, one of your co-hosts, and with me is my super best fur friend, Taebyn. Hello, Taebyn. How are you?
Hello, Mr. Barely. I'm doing good. It's so good to talk to you again and stuff like that and all the fluff. And how are you doing, Mr. Wonderful Barely?
I'm doing great. We have a lot to go over today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about and a lot of things to do, but I wanted to start with a little bit of a euphoria that I had this week. Did you ever have a coworker or a supervisor that you absolutely hated and despised and just didn't like working for them, didn't like having them around? Didn't like going to meetings with them or anything like that? Did you ever have somebody like that?
I can't say I have, but it sounds like I'm going to guess that you have.
I have. And I got word today that this supervisor resigned from my agency. When the email came in, I literally did a little happy dance in my chair. I was so excited.
Well, so you've had a really good day just from that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so happy for you.
Well, thank you. And as we start all of our podcasts lately, we have our last week follow-up. Because we wind up talking about things that we don't know the answer to, and we have to do research. So
we definitely have a new segment on the show as of like a month ago.
That's right. Last week follow-up. So last week we talked about the song Skip to My Lou.
Cows in the pasture, moo, moo, moo. Cows in the pasture, moo, moo, moo. Cows in the pasture, moo, moo, moo. Skip to my Lou, my darling. Lou, Lou, skip to my Lou.
To my Lou, my darling.
Right. And we had mentioned something about it. Was it slang for, skipping to the bathroom as because you're happy to go to the loo? But that's not what it's about.
That's not what it's about.
It's actually a precursor song to square dancing.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's not any circular thinking about that.
No. No. Oh.
No, that was really adorable how that like sunk in. Okay, no, that was actually worked out better than I could have ever expected.
So as you are aware, our fine nation of America was founded by, for the most part, Puritans way back in the olden days.
Why is it that whenever anyone says that word Puritan, I think of like the little things you put on your faucets, the water purifiers?
Well, unless they've got a little black hat and big buckles, it's not the same thing.
It's not the same. Okay, good to know.
Taebyn, we need another Puritan for the cabinet for the water. They didn't like public displays of affection or love or anything like that. So it was a song, and Lou, it's L-O-U, as in Lewis, was a lonely boy that the song is all about, and he's in the middle of the circle, and you have to skip to my Lou to give him a kiss.
That's adorable or something, I think. I'm not sure. And you skip in a circle, but it was a prelude to square dancing?
When you're square dancing, you don't go in a square. You realize that, right?
Well, that's true. That's true.
You actually go in a circle.
You do a circular thing. Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
I wonder what it would be like to be hexagonal dancing then.
Probably still go in a circle, yeah. But the caller would say things like, I can't even begin to guess what they would say.
Well, my caller would say, chase your tail in a circle.
Yes.
That's what my color, because I have a purple color,
Counterclockwise, chase your tail, skip to the loo, my darling. And we're going to talk about explaining a joke. We got a joke.
There was another one of those recently. I forgot. What was the joke that we did?
The horse joke. You told a joke, it was a couple of weeks ago, about a cowboy and a horse. And the joke went, did you find the horse well behaved? I should say so. Whenever we came to a fence, he let me over first.
I totally remember having No idea what the fluff was going on with that.
Right. Well, our chief fact checker,
Rain raccoon.
Rain Raccoon, yes, who apparently also grew up on a horse farm, he's had quite the interesting life.
I did not know he grew up on a horse farm, and he's a
I
raccoon now. There
I
must be some
know.
drama involved with that.
There must be that, but I digress. Oh, we always seem to digress. But anyway, the joke means that when you are riding a horse, it stopped at the fence and threw you over off the horse.
Is that like what they do?
Yes, if you're galloping along and the fence is in the way, the horse stops short and you fly over and land over the fence.
They don't think ahead
So,
and like, oh, there's a fence. I guess I'll slow down. They're just like, oh, there's a fence in my face. I will stop now.
or they don't just jump over it like they should.
Right.
There's that part. So
There's that part.
there's that part. There's that part.
There's that part there, Sunny Square to
There,
you, my darling, or something.
there she blows,
Like
as they
a
would
hump,
say.
like a snow hill. It is Moby Dick.
Really?
Is that's a line from the book.
Oh, is it?
It is.
Really? Okay.
What is going on here? I don't know, but
There's
I'm pretty sure that's the line from the book.
there's a hump but no hill.
No, sorry. No,
Is that what you said?
no.
Oh,
A hump. Well, maybe I said it, but it's not what I meant to say. I meant to say a hump like a snow hill. It is Moby Dick.
oh, okay. I thought you said that's a hump, no hill.
That's a hump.
It's Moby
It's
Dick.
no hill. It is
Yeah,
Moby Dick.
right.
Okay, no, that would be confusing. I understand that. I
It
understand.
could be confusing. Yes. Okay. Well, it is 6:30. Time to post the link for 5-minute furs for fun. And we've had a fur that's tried to get in for several weeks now and has come into the chat seconds after we took the link down. And he's been very upset. So we're going to post it.
5-minute furs for fun. I am doing this later. I'm slow sometimes.
You're on a slow burn today, aren't you?
That's something I don't even know.
Don't even
Oh,
know.
I'm not
Okay.
on that fence because the horse helped me over it.
He helped you right over it. Well, so we're gonna start with our mailbag, and if a fur comes in for 5-minute furs, we will start. We will go on with that. So I'm gonna open up the mailbag. Oh, look, we have mail. I'm so excited. The
Hi.
very, the very first mail is from Finn Brenner, and he emailed us, and he says, "Hey, yeah.
Hey,
I just
yeah.
finished listening to the episode where you had Shadow Raccoon and Theodore Rabbit on, and where Taebyn talked about the Turing machine. It actually reminded me of a fun fact I have about a weird kind of way you can make a Turing machine. Magic the Gathering, the card game, is actually Turing complete, meaning you can make a functional Turing machine in a normal game with real cards.
Oh, wow,
I didn't know
really?
that. Right?
I
Yeah.
did not know.
Like,
That's actually pretty cool.
yeah, like in a normal game with normal rules, with cards that actually exist. I mean, it does take advantage of several banned cards and very expensive cards. So it would be near impossible to make the deck in real life, but it is theoretically possible. That's the
Just like
best kind of
Turing, that's the Turing machine
right.
thing.
That's the best kind of possibility anyway. I think I remember your husband plays the game barely. That's your husband plays the game barely, not the game barely. Yeah. There is no game called barely. Uh, so you might be at least kind of familiar with the game. I am. And he gives us a link to a video of someone explaining how the card game of all things can be worked out with the Turing machine, and a scientific article that proves it just as well.
Awesome.
That was just fun thing about them. Anyway, love the show, guys. Keep it up. So that's makes 3 weeks we've talked about Turing now.
So yeah, I think we'll post the links to the YouTube and the paper that Finn talked about on the website, so you can check it out. I'm excited to actually check that out myself. So cool.
All right. Well, while we were doing that, a furry named Sammy popped in for 5-minute furs for fun. Hi, Sammy. How are you?
I am good. Very excited, actually. I have some big news.
Oh, what's the big news?
Does it make you wag?
Yes, very much so. And I will be wagging myself soon because my fursuit, at least the head, is done.
Raise the woof.
Yes.
Raise the woof.
Or raise the ruff, whatever you want to do. No, that's exciting. So tell us about that. What are you? What's the persona?
I am a fox, a blue one at that. I kind of want to add some lore, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. I'm lazy, so eventually I will. But yes, just for now, just fox.
Is it going to be Sammy? Is that his name or their
Yes,
name?
yes, indeed.
And so you've seen the head, and have you received the head yet? This sounds like, when I say that, if it's taken out of context, it sounds like we're in some ancient Elizabethan era or something. It's like, bring me his head or something. Fortunately, we are not decapitating anyone.
No decapitation involved, but I would like the postman to bring the head to me soon. Not yet, though, because I still have to get some pausies, of course, and a tail.
Of
Geez.
course.
I
There you
love
go.
that you said pausies, because that's really what it is.
You've been rubbing off on me, Taebyn. I've listened too much Furcast.
I mean, I'm happy about it. I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm glad I could do that for you.
Yes, I'm happy indeed. I guess just a side effect of pretty much listening to the entire thing every week. So,
Nice.
Nice.
So where are you from, Sammy?
Atlanta in the Peach State.
Oh,
The
wow.
peach.
So it's
There's a song about peaches.
yes, there is.
That probably has nothing to do with anything you're talking about, but there that is.
Somewhat
So
related.
that's in like Georgia, I think, right?
Yes,
Well, he
indeed.
said he's been.
Oh, he said that? Oh, I'm good
Yes.
at listening sometimes, just not
Sometimes.
usually.
Sometimes. So what do you do in Atlanta, Georgia?
Well, I am a high school senior, and I drive for the chicken place that everyone in the South seems to be addicted to, Chick-fil-A. And I am also a pilot.
A pilot.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Like Flames and Scary being very up into the high and going very fast and stuff?
Yes, indeed. Spinny propeller makes me go whir.
It does. I see what you
Okay.
did there. I did.
Okay.
Did you see what he did there, Barely?
I didn't.
Sammy made a little meme reference. So
Oh,
for all you listeners out there, any further that's listening, if you got that, great, write us a letter about how you got Sammy's meme reference, and we'll tie it together and bring it together in a bow. And I'm not really sure what I'm talking about once again, but I think it would be very pretty and cute.
so Sammy, how long have you been in the fandom then?
That's a good question. I swear I can never remember. Like I always do the math in my head and I'm like, okay, it's been like this many years, but then it always slips my mind. It's been since I'd 7th grade maybe.
Oh,
So,
wow.
a couple years now.
Would
Well, if you're a
be
senior, that's so like 5
six-
years, I
six.
think. 6?
6 years.
Yep, that sounds about right.
I am not good at adding. I mean,
Okay.
I'm not. I'm really, really not.
What do your classmates think of you being a furry, or do they know? Are you secret
Ooh.
fur?
They mostly do not know, but I do have one friend who has been hounding me about it, and I'm pretty confident he does know. I have not revealed it yet, though, but I will likely reveal it when I reveal my suit. So-
Nice.
Ah,
So
yes.
there's actually a few things I have to say there. One, I hope you have more than one friend, because he said he has one friend. And
Yes.
and he's been hounding you. And I see what you did there, of course, but I had to give a
Yes.
shout out. Well, I am a pup and I have to do that. Anyway, very good, very nice.
Well, I want to ask you real fast, Emmy. So you said you drive for Chick-fil-A. What do you like? Drive the chickens in before they get slaughtered, or what do you do for them?
Oh, no, that's a little bit morbid, but okay. I mean, maybe
Yeah,
someone has
I
to.
mean, someone's got to slaughter the chickens if you're going to eat them.
Don't worry, I do not slaughter any chickens, but we do deliveries now. At least my store
Oh.
does. So yes,
Do you
Mm.
ride in on a chicken?
that is a trade secret.
Okay.
Well,
I
I
cannot
will.
disclose whether or not we use chickens as vehicles.
Yeah,
As
okay. No, this
Ride
is
that
getting
chicken.
exciting. Ride that chicken. Ride it all night long.
Ghost chickens in the sky.
The chicken in the sky. That's like a Journey song. The chicken in the sky keeps on turning.
No,
No, okay, no.
I was thinking more of the song "Ghost Chickens in the Sky."
Oh, that's a song too, apparently.
So, Sammy, you've been a long time listener, first time caller. Is that what's going on here?
How long have I been listening for? A couple months now. First time calling in, of course. As you know, I've been missing it a couple weeks now, but I finally called in. But I have been listening for a good while now, probably since around October or so of last year.
What else can you tell us about yourself, Sammy? What do you do for fun besides deliver a chicken?
I do.
Just one chicken, one a
Yes.
day. Here's another chicken. Here, have a chicken. It'll like walk at you or whatever sound they make. But here's the chicken.
But yes, I do a couple things. I do a lot of 3D printing, and I'm actually working on a couple designs fursuit related. I've designed my own headstand and also my own blower fan. Neat little projects that I may consider, giving out or selling if I can get them working right.
Very creative
Mhm.
sounding. Yeah.
I've dabbled in a bit of Twitch streaming, though I am very inconsistent with the scheduling. So, and of course, gaming, as everyone does nowadays.
I don't game.
Oh, interesting.
But actually, barely, you do like chicken, so sometimes you do game. Ha ha. That was a very
That
bad.
will-
That was no, don't. This
Those are
Don't.
domestic. They're not game.
Oh, right, right, right. So tell me what games do you like to play and stuff?
I do like playing GTA. That's always
Nice.
fun. I've been streaming a bit of that.
They're on 5 now, right?
We've been on 5 for what feels like forever and what feels
Yeah.
like will be forever. Flight Simulator, I do a lot of that.
They still have that? I remember there used to be like Microsoft Flight Simulator, and the graphics were all pixelated all over the place and stuff. Are you doing that? Or is this a like updated version where the pixels are only like half a square inch instead of a square inch?
Well, there is a new version out that came out this year. It is very nice. I highly recommend it, but only if you have a strong computer, because it will make your computer scream.
Like quarter inch pixels instead.
Yes, tiny
Yeah,
pixels.
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'll make a note. Maybe I'll look into that. That sounds exciting and fun. And also, as you say, very scream-worthy for my poor computer.
Okay, Sammy, our 5 minutes is up. We don't want to take a lot of your time. And
Yep, no
we
worries.
have,
I do have
other
one
stuff.
joke, though.
Oh, let's hear your joke.
well, okay.
I've been
Okay.
saving this.
Okay. Yeah, well, the floor is all yours, or the virtual floor is all yours.
Do you know why people in Siberia like to run around?
Yeah, I did actually not know that they like to do that. So this is actually like lots of information here for me. Why do people in Siberia like to run around, Sammy?
It's because they're always Russian.
All right,
Oh,
Sammy. Well, thanks
okay.
for coming on. We're going to let you log off.
Yes, thank you for having me. Have a good one, guys.
Have a wonderful night in Georgia, Sammy.
Yes.
One other piece of mail, so to speak. Caledon Delamar.
I know him. I know him.
Yeah, he reached out to me and asked if we would put things out to help him. He's in a wheelchair. He has a mobility van, and his transmission went out. And so he has a GoFundMe to help pay for his transmission because, of course, he's unemployed with COVID and he can't get around if he doesn't have a van. I put the link up on our BFFT chat and on our Twitter. So it's a good cause. If you can, I'll put the link in the stuff when I post this. If anybody cares to go and help a fur in need, this is a fur in need.
And from what I understand, he actually was just starting to get back up on his feet and stuff. And of course, this happened. But yeah, I actually know him. He's a good guy. I've known him probably 4 years. I met him at my first con at Furlandia. So yep, he's had good involvement in Furlandia and helping back at least a few years ago anyway. So yeah, definitely. Please help him out.
All right. So that moves us along to our media section. So there's a lot of new things that came out this last week that I have been watching.
really?
We started watching WandaVision on Disney Plus. It's a Marvel show. It's about Marvel. It's about
I feel
um
marvelous.
yeah, the Vision character and the witch Wanda, and during the Marvel world. If you watched the Marvel movies with the gauntlet that made everybody disappear, one of the jewels in the gauntlet was from Vision's forehead. Okay.
Okay.
So and so the storyline goes that they were able to save their essence and put them in this television show like thing from the 50s.
Okay.
It'll be interesting to see where it goes.
I obviously have no idea what's going on right now, but it sounds very interesting and fun.
So I also started watching Bridgerton.
Bridgerton.
Yeah, it's a period piece by Shonda Rhimes, and Shonda Rhimes
All right,
left.
does he? sorry.
Poor Taebyn has lost it again. Taebyn's brain has left the building. All right.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't need to do. Okay. Okay, I'm pushing mute now, and so that you can actually finish your sentence.
Tell
I'm
my
sorry.
story. So Bridgerton is a new period piece by Shonda Rhimes, and if you want to think about it as being like Downton Abbey, but with more scandal, sex, and nudity. So there's that. Let's see, what else am I watching? Oh, the new season of The Magicians and the new season of Bonding. I think you mentioned Bonding a couple of episodes ago. Maybe if you didn't, you should watch Bonding on Netflix. They're short episodes.
Okay.
They're like 12 or 13 minutes. They're
Oh, nice,
just
nice little just binge-worthy stuff.
oh yeah, and they do a wonderful job spinning the tale in that short period of time. So not your tail.
Not my tail.
They don't spin your tail. No, but they spin a tail.
Because we know they would get nasty letters from Tail, because we know how that goes. I'm interested. The Magicians. I don't know if I've heard. I think I've heard of it, but haven't seen it. What is that like and about?
I've talked about it before because they're on season 5, so I know I've
Oh,
talked about
okay.
it.
That's probably where I heard about it.
Yeah.
Actually, okay.
Yeah, it's a really good show. It's about these kids that go to a magician school and they learn all about magic and doing things, and it's not kids, they're college kids, so it's a
And they're doing
college.
things.
And the storyline goes they found magic, they lost magic, they got magic back, they died, they came back to life, they went to Fillory, they did all sorts of things. So
It's the whole girl finds boy, boy loves girl, girl loves boy. They die because there's magic everywhere, and then a unicorn comes and stomps on their head, and that type of story. Okay.
how about you? Have you started watching Disenchantment? We talked about this last week, the show
We did talk
Disenchantment.
about no, I haven't. It's on the list. I haven't started yet. It's been kind of, we'll say, difficult these days to do
Uh-oh.
stuff. But it's fine. It's just like on my to-do list. It just hasn't been done yet. So we've been continue watching Red Oaks. It's still pretty good. And movie we watched. Have you heard of Jack Reacher?
Yes. And I think
Yes.
we've seen the movie. Yes.
You might have. Yeah, this was actually a really good movie. We saw just about a few days ago. John Reacher, the movie is from 2012 with John Cruise, and there's actually a sequel. And 4 years later in 2016, which I'm looking forward to seeing. This was actually based on the novel One Shot by the British writer Lee Child in 2005. And it turns out actually Jack Reacher is the main person thing in a novel series by Lee Child. This is just a particular version of that. And so Tom Cruise, it turns out, I found out, did his own driving driving the car chase things and stuff, which is pretty cool because usually they have stunt drivers to do that.
So Tom Cruise and John Cruise are in it?
I think I said what? I'm getting my names. What names did I say? I said a lot of names.
First you said John Cruise.
Oh.
And then you said Tom Cruise. So
Oh.
I didn't know that Tom had a brother named John, but it's possible. I don't.
So maybe he does. Let me. For the record, I meant Tom Cruise. So Tom Cruise is the main hero guy in the movie Jack Reacher. I don't know if John Cruise
you go.
exists. I think the reason I said John is because when I went to go ask my honey if he knew that there was a sequel to the movie John Reacher, is what I said, because I could have sworn it was John. And even though literally seconds prior, I had been looking, to do some research on it so I could talk about the show. So I had literally just been looking at the name Jack Reacher, and I went in and I'm like, did you know John Reacher has a sequel? It's like, I think it's Jack Reacher. It's like, no, I thought it was Jack Reacher at first too, but it's really John Reacher. I was just looking at it. And then I came back in to review my things and like, wait, no. So then I ran back and said, no, honey, you're right. I have no idea what I'm talking about. It's Jack Reacher. Anyway, I think that's why I said John Cruise, because like I got to mix it all up, right? Anyway, I wanted to read the little plot summary to any for this listening, because I really like this. Really good show, I thought. The plot summary is: one morning in an ordinary town, 5 people are shot dead in a seemingly random attack. All evidence points to a single suspect, an ex-military sniper who is quickly brought into custody. The man's interrogation yields one statement, and that is, "Get Jack Reacher." Reacher, an enigmatic ex-army investigator, believes the authorities have the right man, but agrees to help the sniper's defense attorney. However, the more Reacher delves into the case, the less clear-cut it appears. So that's the plot. And it has a 7 out of 10 on IMDb, 64% on Rotten Tomatoes, 67% on Fandango. I would rate a little more than 64, 67%. I really liked it. Anyway, so that was my review and my media for the week.
Well, that takes us to It's a Classic Comedy Bit Week. All Our classic comedy bit this week is another one from Abbott and Costello. It's called Loafin'.
It's a good little comedy routine, and it's kind of I think I feel I have to just pre-explain a few words just because like this is new times and Abbott and Costello is when were they? 60s? I don't know when they were even.
I guess. I don't know. Way
Something
back
anyway,
when.
they're old times, and so there's like old term slang, which still we use, but I just thought it'd be useful to so that every fur understands the words that are going on. When you're relaxing and not doing much and just hanging around, you're loafing. Another word, we still use the word dough. Like, got some dough, man.
yeah.
Hey, down with it.
Yep.
I got some dough.
So this is the Loafin' routine from Abbott and Costello. I will be playing the part of Abbott once again, and Taebyn will be playing the part of Costello. For those of you that don't know, Abbott was the tall, skinny one. Costello was the short, dumpy one.
I was totally just going to say short. I mean, in my mind anyway, I was thinking, how would you describe a short dumpy? And then you said it. It's like I was so happy we're on the same fluff right there. That was so cool.
Yes. All right. So set the scene. Taebyn is on the couch reading a comic book. They are roommates, and Barely walks in, obviously tired. He walks into the messy apartment, and he finds Taebyn reading a comic book on the couch. Just as hey, cut that out. What is this all about?
What's the matter, you? Why you slap that comic out of my hand?
I've been out all
that.
day. I've been out all day working. Do you even go out to look for work?
Yeah, well, of course.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, sure. Am I the only one that's going to do all the work around here?
Well, I was working.
Oh, no, you weren't.
Yeah, I was reading a comic book.
Really? A comic book? That don't feed you, my friend. That don't put food in the fridge.
Wait a minute.
Don't give me that wait a minute stuff.
Wait a minute. I think I heard something that you said that I didn't know.
What's that?
You said you were out all day working?
Yes, I got a job.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I had to get a job because you don't want to work.
So what do you do?
What do I do? I got a job in a bakery.
Hey, cool. And what do they have you doing there?
Loafing.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm doing. Loafing.
So wait, let's do this again. What are you doing?
I'm loafing.
Where?
In a bakery.
Oh, okay. So let's start over. So you're working, right?
Yes.
And what are you doing?
Loafing.
Well, that's what I was doing here. I was taking it easy.
Oh, no. Not that kind of loafing. You're just a lazy pup.
I mean, I don't know. I was taking it easy just like you do at that bakery you have.
No. I work when I loaf.
How can you work and loaf at the same time? They seem contradictory right here. I don't know.
Why not?
Well, okay. So, can I do that? What do you do?
No, that's what they pay me for.
They pay you for what?
To loaf.
How do they pay you for loafing at a baker's store? You got to do something.
I'm a baker, so I'm loafing there.
So you just go to work at a baker's store and you don't do nothing.
No, I work there.
Yeah. How much do they pay you in this baker's store to loaf?
Minimum wage.
For loafing?
Well, of course, I'm a union man. I belong to the union.
I've been loafing here and I don't get a nickel for it. How does this work?
You're not supposed to get any money for that kind of loafing.
Well, can I go and loaf there with you?
No, you have to join the union.
Wait, I have to join a union like a union of loafers?
Well, you can't loaf without belonging to the union.
What do you think about that? I mean, so I have to join a union to like loaf?
Well, certainly.
Don't say anything, but I've been kind of doing some loafing here all day, and the union doesn't know, so like, don't let them know, please.
No. You don't know how to loaf here. You don't know how to loaf here. You can't loaf here. You've got no dough.
I've got no dough. I mean, duh, that's because I'm loafing. I got no dough to do anything with.
No, well, you need dough in order to loaf. Then you need a card to join the union.
You mean you need dough to loaf? That doesn't sound right.
Well, sure. How could you loaf without dough?
Well, that's what I've been trying all day. You just can't do it.
No. Well, you can't do it. You can't do anything.
Well. Let's settle down. I can't retire now. I have to get a job first.
That's true.
And there it is. Don't.
But what do you say we get to our guest today?
Okay, let's do that. Let's do that.
Welcome to our guest, Goku. How are you this evening, Goku?
I'm tired, but I'm doing well overall. Thank you for asking.
Oh, you're
Nice.
quite welcome.
And is it evening for you, or what time is it for you over there?
Eastern time zone, so
Oh,
9:30 at night,
okay, so it is night.
and I'm an early bird. I'm up at 5 a.m. for work.
Oh, wow. You
Yeah,
and Barely gets up, what do you get, 5:15, I think?
5:15. Yep. Yep.
Whereas this pup right here, likes this little sleepy box, and 11 o'clock is a pretty good time for me to get up, you know? So about 6 hours later than both of you.
Yes.
If I can sleep past 7:30, it's a good day for me.
Yeah.
I could see that, I could see that.
It's just like at cons when I'm with Taebyn at cons and he sleeps till 11:30 and I'm up at 6 and walking around the con space doing stuff, and that's my con time is when I don't have to take care of him when he's asleep.
But I that's exactly. I do it all for you, Barely.
Yes.
But,
you do.
but yes, Goku, hi. Yes, wonderful for thinking. What are it's wonderful for you of thinking. What am I even talking about? I don't know. It's wonderful to have you on our show this evening, and thank you for coming on. My name is Taebyn. I'm a pup, Bark Bark, and your name is Goku. So, could you tell us about the name Goku? Where did it come from? It strikes me as kind of unique.
Well, the easy answer is, and it's no shock, I was a huge fan of Dragon Ball when I was much younger.
I should have made that connection. Okay, got it.
Initially, when I joined the fandom at around 2012, my initial name was Dolph, but when I told people that name, they was like, it really doesn't click. You don't look like a Dolph. And I was just like, let me think of something else. And I thought of Goku, but not for the reason of like being this huge muscle-bound protagonist. I always loved him because he was a glutton, he was a bit of a dumbass, and he had a heart of gold.
Well, that's I think perfect right there. And
Mhm.
did you realize that if you were really into it in the beginning, you would have been a dolphin, but you didn't go that route. So you're
No, I
what?
don't need a blowhole in my neck.
Right. No,
Okay.
because originally he was going to be Dolph, and now I'm helping Barely out there.
Yeah, let's just move along, Taebyn. You're not
Go,
making any sense.
Goku knew what I was talking about. So,
Okay.
yeah. So you said you joined or you became a furry or joined the fandom in 2012. Did you say?
Yes.
Yeah, nice. And so tell us about your fursona.
My OC, I have three personas, but the one that
Oh,
most
wow.
people know me as is Goku the Arctic Marble Fox.
Arctic marble fox. That's cool. That's interesting.
I really wanted something. I do like foxes, they're one of my favorite animals. There's one on my arm right now. But I didn't want the same like types that every other, most people had in the fandom. So I wanted to choose something. White is one of my favorite colors, and something that had a little bit of an attitude, an edge, a little bit of a dirty look. And that's where I zeroed in on the Arctic Marble variety. And I've been rolling with it for years, doing little enhancements here or there to what I like aesthetically.
So I actually don't know much about like the marble fox. What is its distinguishing features?
In cold weather, if I recall, an Arctic fox is snow white. It blends very well with the snow.
Hmm.
And an Arctic marble fox has these types of, I don't know what to call it exactly, but they have all these variations within their fur that go from a beige, off-white to subtle beiges and browns, even a little black.
Oh, okay.
I love like having those tan and off-whites. Like that's one of my favorite colors, to see. So seeing something that mixed everything all together was a real appealing for me, and
Mhm.
something when I eventually got a fursuit that I wanted to show off to others.
Yeah, no, that's a great texturing and colorful embodiment. That's probably not the right word, but I said it anyway because I
No,
do
that's the
that
right
sort of
word.
thing. That is the
That
right.
that is
I
the
did
right
it.
word.
I did a right thing. That
Taebyn
is,
used the big word. Yeah.
I used a really big word and I took a chance, and it worked out that that was the right word to use. I feel like my day is so complete. Thank you for helping me out with that, Goku. Right now, that's amazing.
You're making me smile right now. I hope this isn't the only time I do it during the interview.
I agree. I hope Okay, Smile is done. We're done. Like you can just start crying now because Taven keeps talking. So would you go to typically any cons or anything in since 2012, so you've had lots of opportunities.
Well, my first con was WPFA Western PA Furry Weekend in 2012, and from there I was hooked. I've been to AC every year since I live 15 miles away from the DLCC.
Oh, nice.
So I've been to every AC since 2013. I've also attended MFF, Fernal Equinox, Motor City FurryCon,
Oh, nice.
Antrim New England. One year I did Furry Week in Atlanta. Furthermore, for a few
Cool.
years.
Wow.
I also do a lot of traveling just to see like small groups of furs outside of a con setting, which is really my preference. I actually have a bit of social anxiety. I put up
Mhm.
with it during cons because, you know, it's a great time to, be out in suit and meet people and see others I don't get to see in a while, but it does take a toll on me and I avoid it in most circumstances.
No, I understand, I understand. But I'd like to think it's also good for you then. But I totally understand, definitely. And that's a lot of cons, different varied cons you've been to. And of course you said you're East Coast, so and 15 minutes from the David Lawrence. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I've only been to AC once. I went, I think it was 2018. So we were there at the same time, but we would not have known it. But now we know retroactively.
and I'll be coming out to the West Coast. I made my first trip out there
Oh.
a year and a half ago, and it was beautiful, if not a little
Mhm.
bit of a culture shock. But
Yeah.
I'm still looking forward to coming back when COVID settles down.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Where about yeah, because I agree West Coast is great. Pacific Northwest is amazing. Lots of green and hiking and all that. Whereabouts did you visit?
I was in San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
It was my first visit to California ever, and I stayed with a fur there and got to meet up with a lot of people that I really have only chatted with on Telegram or maybe had seen at like NFF or AC once every couple of years. And I definitely want to return to San Francisco, see the rest of California, and really explore the Pacific Northwest as well. That's very high up on my list.
Nice, nice. Yeah, very good. Yeah. So, I mean, you probably know by now, like, Bay Area furs, California has a great big furry community. I recommend if you get a chance, Northern California or the Redwoods. I've only been through there once, but it's pretty spectacular and amazing. Huge trees. And yeah, Pacific Northwest is just Oregon and Washington, just great hiking and mountains and all that good stuff.
If I can get a car and take a road trip down that entire strip, I would love it.
If you make it to Oregon, reach out. We'll hang out.
Absolutely.
The West Coast is a great drive, so definitely. You have this big, amazing, I think, unique thing called not urban but furban exploration, and I haven't completely, I've looked through your stuff and I've seen some of your websites and a Telegram channel. I subscribed to your Telegram channel the other day. Lots of great pictures there, but I still haven't wrapped my mind around it. So could you explain to us and our listeners what is this wonderful, amazing thing called furban exploration?
Well, first off, I cannot take credit for the term urban exploration. I need to give that credit to Patch.
Oh, Patch Over? Okay.
Yeah, he actually coined the term when I was writing some articles about my early endeavors in it back in 2016 and 2017. The concept is, taking photos or exploring where, it's the places where you normally wouldn't tread as a fursuiter, and taking an interest in urban exploration, urban environments, or even just street art is where I'd like to immerse myself in. I try to get others included, but sometimes it's a tall order trying to get others to join in. Exploring the ruins of like old factories, warehouses, apartment buildings, banks, or, going into a busy urban area and exploring all the wonderful street art and graffiti. There's just so much opportunity for like weird, candid, unusual photos that, when I look at a lot of other high name suitors that are frequently on social media that are well known, it's photos you usually don't see of someone in fursuit. So that's where I wanted to break away and get noticed by doing all these unusual antics in fursuit. Some of it comical, but some of it also like showing a love for the art, the dilapidated architecture, or something unusual.
Lots of history there.
Some of the places where I've been to, there is some fun history. It's local history or it could be even national history.
Cool. Wow. Like, so you've mentioned a few of the places you go. You've gone to like a lot of different places, old, like, I don't want to call them broken down, but old, like historic buildings and old cities that aren't kind of in the works anymore. I think I saw some, do you do like caverns and like exploration, like cave stuff? And what is everything you do?
My focus at first was doing graffiti in street alleys. That's where I got my first taste back in 2016, where I just found this at random and I thought it was cool to take some photos. I was with a few other suitors locally, and we were in Sharon, which is this really small town in between Pittsburgh and Erie. It's a very small, depressed area, but we were there for an arts festival, and I found this alley. It had a lot of tasteful graffiti, nothing extravagant. But, I looked at the photos afterwards and I was like, I enjoy this. So, I'm looking at places to start like right in my backyard, and I'm looking at the old buildings that haven't had, their doors open in 10, 20, 30 years that are boarded up. It shows a little bit of the past. And from there, I started to branch out to other areas where it's depressed, or they have some unique architecture that maybe I could sneak into and see what's left over.
Sneaky fox.
My arthritis doesn't make me as sneaky as I used to be.
Oh, okay.
Are you technically trespassing when you're going into these places? Are you breaking the law?
That's a fun question.
Bluntly, yes. And, as a very law-abiding citizen, typically I've started to take the attitude of, I'm going to explore this, and if I get caught, I get caught. I'm going to, I'll pay the consequences, but I enjoy what I do. And I did have one close call in a foreign country.
I could imagine you, exploring in fursuit and a police officer coming up. He'd probably let you go because, well, you're a furry doing urban exploration.
One funny thing about the police, this was exactly 1 year ago. I was in Chicago visiting a friend, and we were down in Lower Wacker, and I remember getting into my rat fursuit, Brooklyn. He's a very heavily padded, very thick suit, and I'm getting out of the back of this Jeep Wrangler. Right as I got out, a Chicago police officer came out. Apparently there was a homicide 2 minutes before.
Oh, wow.
And
no.
my photographer, he was in plain clothes, and the officer asks, do you know blah, 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 what's going on? He said, no. And then he looks at me and said, does your rat friend know anything? He's like, no.
So awesome, actually.
Did your
That's
rat
awesome.
friend know anything? I love it.
Oh, I
And then
love
that Impala just sped off, and, we were just wandering around Lower Wacker and the Bean. And, in the back of my mind, I'm saying to my pal, I'm like, am I going to get shanked? And he was like, nah, you're too tough.
You're a tough rat. I mean, come on.
So, did you do urban exploration before you had a fursuit? And what made you? I mean, you said before that you did it to find a niche. So you're kind of doing it in fursuit. Is there anybody else that does it in fursuit that you know of?
Not to the extent I do. I know I've talked to other furries when I share my work, and they're, they really like the angle. And I think some of them have done it on a smaller scale, just as like, something personal. I have not done urban exploration prior to me fursuiting. I've always had an interest in it, but I don't know what clicked in my mind with I'm fursuiting. I want to develop this niche even further. And I was just like, I'm going to go into abandoned buildings and not care.
Yeah.
You're really exploring the adventurous side of you, maybe that you wanted to, but all of a sudden you got your persona and like, I'm a marble fox. I'm just going to do it because that's what a fox would do, right? And a rat would totally just do that.
Oh, yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm actually in between Goku. He's getting redone right now. So whenever I've been doing photo shoots recently, my rat Brooklyn has been getting all the attention.
Oh, Goku's going to have to catch up there, I see.
Well, he's scheduled to be done in the next couple of months, hopefully. So,
Okay.
he's going to, especially if social distancing guidelines and everything, sort of cut back and we can be social again, I'm busting him out.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So you had mentioned I want to go back to this. You had mentioned foreign countries, and that kind of hits on, a question I had. Like, how far have you traveled to do this and everything? And you mentioned something about there's an interesting incident in a foreign country.
I haven't left North America, so Canada's the foreign country in question.
But
Okay.
no, that works for me, that works.
It's still a foreign country. They apologize for it.
And reminiscing on that, that was actually one of my most chaotic experiences ever doing this. I have a number of friends. I'm staff at, or was staff at FE, and I've kept contact with a number of good friends up in the southern to central Ontario area. We had gone down, there was a small number of furs that were into this, and, when we all thought, hey, let's, do some fursuit photos together, see what it comes up to. The first place we went to was in St. Catharines, which is not too far from the American border, Niagara Falls and whatnot. It was supposed to be this abandoned U-Haul building that was, the epitome of the abandoned factory or warehouse. It was boarded up. It was being, I guess, turned into storage units. So that was off the table. As I'm walking back to my car, I snagged on a piece of rusty barbed wire. And I
Oh,
had
no.
this dragging on me, and I didn't realize it at first until I had ripped it off of my leg. I was just like, oh shit, this is barbed wire. Luckily, it didn't damage the suit. I had a little bit of rust staining, but I consider it a battle scar in a white suit. So
Jeez,
then,
yeah.
part two, we went to a closed hospital, and I've always wanted to go into one of those. We went up this very steep incline, and some furs had their action packers with their suits, and I had mine, and some had camera equipment. We all get up to the top. We're trying to scope out the door to get in, and then we tripped the silent alarm. And at first, we didn't notice anything, and I think 3 minutes after we had tripped it, the perimeter of the building was outlined with these loudspeakers that said that the local police had been contacted. So we're scurrying like roaches, getting our asses back down the hill.
Yeah.
And trying to not get caught by the police. And there were actually a couple of Americans that were with us. And I have a clean record. I was just like, I'm not getting permabanned from this country for something so stupid.
No, that wouldn't be good. That wouldn't be good. So you do this for, I mean, there's definitely an adventure aspect to this, to all this. I mean, on one level, it's like, okay, photography, really cool photography, really cool history being captured in all that and everything. But then there's adventure aspect to it and kind of a journey in a way. And so for you, what these days, I mean, you've been doing this a while now. These days, do you feel that it's more of a photography thing or there's more of a adventure component, or do you think it's about equal, or how do you feel on those terms?
More or less, I would say it's equal depending on where I'm shooting. Going through my Telegram channel, it's not just exclusively me going into abandoned buildings and stuff like that. I'd say when we're doing exploration into some architecture or someplace that has some type of value to the past, that's where I would, focus more on the antiquity and the meaning behind it. When I'm focusing more on street art or looking at what's around in an urban area, that's something where I put more emphasis on the photography with whoever I'm working with, to go as crazy as possible within reason.
Have you gotten more quote unquote crazy fox or crazy rat these days as time has gone, or do you try and keep it at the same level of cray?
Depends what my mood is. November, I just was having shell shock. I decided to take a drive out to Baltimore, and I met up with a good photographer friend of mine, and we were in inner city Baltimore, and I was just doing some very crazy shit. I remember we were walking around this riverbed, and I saw a quilt. I was just like, I'm going to go lay on this dilapidated wooden pallet, wrap myself around this quilt, and I'm just going to relax and soak the sun for 10 minutes.
Nice, nice.
We got away from the riverbank and we're going towards, closer within the city. And I'm like, I'm going to go under a mailbox. I'm going to, I have humongous paws.
Under a mailbox? That sounds fun.
I'm gonna stuff my paws under here and see what I can do. We went down this alley of a chop shop, and you see these hollowed out cars from the 90s and 2000s, and it looks like someone was using it for target practice, someone pissed them off. Me with like limited peripheral vision and, paws that are about 2.5 times my normal foot size. I'm like, I'm going to hop on this Honda and I'm just going to put my foot through the windshield. I don't care.
Okay, good.
Okay,
Great.
well.
And how did all that turn out?
That was a phenomenal photo session where the very few people that I came into contact with, because, very few people were out and about like they would be. There was this old man smoking a cigar on his porch, and, I was just waving to him and like acting like a jackass, and I ran into a tree.
Okay. Well, I mean, pros and cons to all this stuff. So I'm visualizing this, and there's so many like great pictures in my mind. You're waving and everything, and that's nice. And I could see a very artistic thing, and then running into a tree. I don't know if the word is artistic, but pretty nice too.
I am a big fan of toony and slapstick comedy, so it was very comical and apropos.
Awesome. So we mentioned your Telegram channel. It has lots of great pictures and stuff. So before I forget, I want to make sure all our listeners know, what is your Telegram channel? Because I think a lot of furs out there would really appreciate seeing some of this photography.
You're probably going to need to spell this because it's a bit long, and I honestly do a very poor job of advertising it. And I finally joined, or I don't know if you could say joined the 21st century, but I really don't like social media, but I've finally broken down and done an Instagram.
Nice.
And it covers like some of the stuff that's on my channel, but it also has some of the more like, common stuff that you would see from suitors, like doing crazy things or the typical stuff.
So when you're out and about, have you ever encountered gang members or hooligans or nefarious cretins running around or that make home in the places you go explore?
Well, I've never found anyone in the places that I've explored yet. I'm sure I will at one point, and it's something I'm always concerned about. Something that does happen semi-frequently is, whether I'm scouting out a building or, I'm just taking photos around an urban area, I will have people stop me, and there's some unusual characters.
Yeah.
I remember...
What? I couldn't think of that. Okay.
So a couple years ago in Baltimore, I was doing some photos around inner city Baltimore and Fort Armistead, an abandoned Confederate fort. As we were finishing up the photos within the city, what I could only think was he was a pot dealer for sure. He was very high energy, but he was receptive to furry. So it's just like, whatever, I don't care.
Was he just? So I thought when you said he was very high energy, I thought you were just not going to say the word energy and then continue on. But anyway, go ahead.
So he was on a hoverboard, just, riding down the street. And when he saw me, it was like Pitbull yelling that annoying scream that I just had to look back on. So, he shrieked, I paused, I looked, he came over. The next thing I know, he has his iPhone in one hand and he's taking a humongous pull from a blunt in the other. And, one of the photographers managed to get a video of it, and just the slow-mo of this guy blowing out the smoke from his lungs. And I think I got a little bit of secondhand. So, bonus. And it was just, awesome.
And that is your life right there.
And then one of the more nerve-wracking ones, there is this abandoned town about an hour south of me called Brownsville. There are two banks that sandwich this apartment building. At first, I didn't know how to get in there without causing a scene. There's a municipal parking lot, and I remember smoking cigarettes at the time and having a large cup of coffee. I miss both those things so very much. But this was 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. Literally, this town is so depressed. There is one diner, one antique shop, and I guess a VFW or Knights of the Columbus, something like that. There are three old men smoking cigarettes, and I say hello to them along with one other person that was with me. And literally, they are sitting there the entire day because I was scouting until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Their asses didn't move from that chair. Like, they had enough cigarettes, cigars, and Maxwell House coffee to last them until the millennium.
Nice.
You
And
know, and that's like the picture I have in those kind of places. It's so great to know that like my stereotypical vision of those type of places that they exist. There it is.
one of them, he really didn't emote speech. I don't know, what was up, but literally all he did was puff on a cigar and drink his coffee. And, he had very limited speech. So I was just like, hey, how you doing? And, we start a simple conversation. We're both smoking and drinking. And then one of the other members from the VFW comes out and forget the guy's name, but he was like, is this foreigner causing you trouble? I was just like, I'm from Pittsburgh. He's like, that's foreign to us. So, I'm
No,
in.
I'm from Pittsburgh. I mean, duh. Come on, everything's okay. Everything's fine.
So I'm in my ripped jeans and a painter's shirt, and I'm just speed walking like I have tight spandex on and like an enema up me. I was just like, get out of here before the cops are called. And I'm not even in the building yet.
Oh, you've got an adventure waiting for you. Let me tell you.
And then short subscript to that. So I eventually do get it into the building, and I'm on the second floor, and I'll be damned if there's all the windows in this building are busted out unless you go to the fourth or fifth story. And all the debris, I was just like, oh crap, they can see me. I'm gonna run.
Mhm.
Oh, wow. Okay, great. Great. So that's fun too. So you have lots of adventures. I mentioned before, I asked before about adventures, and yes, you get into lots of adventures. That actually far surpasses my next question, which actually related to something you said before. But so you do East Coast. Have you been all up and down the East Coast doing these things, or are there only specific places you've been?
I have been focusing a lot of my attention in my immediate area. So the Mid-Atlantic, the Rust Belt, the Northeast. I'd like to venture into New England more. I don't hate traveling, or flying, I should say, but traveling with the fursuit is such a pain. Otherwise, if it was more of a pleasure like 30 years ago, where, you didn't have to pay an arm and a leg to check a 50-pound fursuit,
Mhm, mhm.
I'd be going to a lot more places and being a lot more adventurous. Just, take my laptop, do my work, and then at night do my fursuit photos.
As I think you've already explored on your own or researched, California and especially the Pacific Northwest will have some really great opportunities for you, I think.
I definitely don't have a problem with nature. I love doing nature shots when I get the chance, and I do like to bring some variation in my photos. Just my cardinal rule is just be very different. The last nature, it was actually with my wild dog suit. I brought him to Colorado. I actually met up with another wild dog, and we did a little bit of the urban and we did some of the nature. Trying to walk in fursuit 11,000 feet above sea level is a real challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a challenge anyway.
That was one hell of a headache I had.
Might I say that I know you said you've had, some social anxieties and stuff, but I feel that you have so much more adventure in you than I could ever do that it far like outweighs any of that. So kudos, you've done some pretty amazing things and that's pretty cool. So what else do you do other things? I mean, like we're COVID now and so you're locked down. Like what are your hobbies and what kind of other things do you do?
I'm taking a lot of solo road trips. I really love driving. I don't know how to fix a car to save my life, but I enjoy driving them.
As long as you don't break down, you're happy, happy Foxy.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm actually a diesel enthusiast. I love driving those clankerly, noisy, smelly cars. I have a calling
Really?
to them.
Wow. So
So
yeah,
I take
you're Ford.
so I take my one's in the shop right now, but if I'm not working and it's a beautiful day outside, I'll just do 100-mile drive and just listen to music and relax.
Out there back east where you are in, well, it sounds like Pittsburgh, is it, nice driving, nice fields? Is there mountainsides? I mean, what is the geography like?
Pittsburgh has so much. I will say it's great for driving. There are so many hills and curves where, especially if you're into like drift car driving or you have a performance car that can take the curves nicely. I don't have anything like that. Like I drive an old Mercedes and a new Chevy. Just doing 50 miles an hour on a clear day with a dry road, and it's pleasure. You can get into I mean, not like you're in the Rockies or anything, but there are some higher elevations as well as you go away from the city. There's some farmland where it's a little bit hilly, but, pretty smooth terrain overall. Our road work sucks. Like, the roads are not taken care of.
Okay. Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
That provides an additional adventure that you normally wouldn't have.
It's sort of modified because, usually I'd be taking these road trips, to explore places, to see friends, to take a road trip with other friends, but I'm doing it alone, and it's just to get out of my house. Like, I work 2 jobs. There are days where I'm working 14 hours a day. I can only watch cartoons and, Price is Right episodes from 1982 so much before I go stir crazy with my cats.
Amazing as Bob Barker is, you can only take so much. I
Right.
understand. Is there anything else that you would like our listeners to know about you and your work?
Well, I could tell another story or two of, like, one of my most recent adventures, if you think that would be cool.
Sure. Yeah. Let's hear it.
So my last place that I was in right before Thanksgiving was the old St. Michael's Theater, which is 12 miles from my house, 2 miles from my office. Pittsburgh historically is very religious. Like, you go into some areas of the city, like I live in this small town where on the main strip there are 6 churches. I went exploring this old theater that used to be part of a church. The theater closed 10 years ago. The church was demolished, and now it's some bougie shishi $500,000 condos,
Bougie shishi.
which I guess in California or like Seattle, 500 grand is not that expensive. So the church was knocked down for these apartments, but the theater still remained. A couple of furs had explored it independently, and I was just, we were, sharing secrets of like places to go. So they took me out there. We were at a suit. We saw it, and I fell in love with this place. And there was a sense of urgency because in Pittsburgh, when something is about to be demolished, there is this blue placard that's sort of like glued on by the city. Every door had the blue placard, and I'm like, I'm on borrowed time. So I was just like, even if it's just with one of my fursuits, and even if it's quick, I need to get in here. I managed to find a photographer. The easy way would literally just go into the front of the theater.
That would be the easiest way, but you're not going to do that, I assume.
The tenants of this co-op or condo, whatever it is, they're very nosy, and they don't like people going in, even though, like, I know some people like to trash and leave their tags and do other stuff to leave their mark, but I'm of the school of thought of, leave only footprints, take only pictures, that sort of thing. We had to go around the hill to the back where we're basically going down this wooded area where there's really no walking trail. We're navigating our way through it, and it's pretty treacherous. We find an opening, we get in, and we're sort of like going on, we're walking on this catwalk, getting in, and we step into the what used to be the old stage, which has seen better days, taking it all in, the ornate architecture and the seats that are still there, people who have tagged, and some of the dangerous pitfalls that were there. Like, there were certain areas where if I didn't watch my step and I went down a story, I was going to die. So I had to be careful about that.
Wow. Okay.
So that's a little scary. Okay.
And, so I'm telling, I had a pup with me, and I said to him, I need you to be my eyes. Like, I have good vision in fursuit, but you're not wearing a head. And this pup didn't know what he was getting himself into. Like, he thought everything was still going to be relatively intact, and we just had to worry about maybe a vagrant or a drug user or whatever. Oh, no. So there are stairs. I can't believe this wasn't a violation, or maybe someone was being cheeky and stole them, but there was stairs to get to the top floor where there was a balcony, and there was also a bottom floor where I guess they had storage for all the props and everything. There were no handrails. So
I'm scared already. I am so scared already.
So one false move and you slip, that's it. Like, you're going down at least 2 stories.
And that would definitely be the end of your story.
When he saw that, he freaked out, and I'm like, dude, it's gonna be all right. I've done this already. It looks a lot worse than it actually is. Hug the wall, grab my tail, walk your butt up there. And
hug the tail. Definitely hug the tail, because that's what's going to get you through.
yeah, I mean, I was trying to give him a little bit of confidence. And, once we did it twice, like, he was more comfortable with it. but like we had to deal with like floorboards that were missing and like, all these weird pitfalls and stuff. And I managed to get out on the outer balcony where people probably smoke cigarettes and cigars and whatnot. And I got a shot at the city skyline, which would have been better if it wasn't a dreary, overcast fall day. But,
Well, yeah.
we did that, and then we walked back down, and we were so paranoid about the cops coming because, these people literally have nothing better to do. Like, these are the hipsters, and they make money, and they got nothing better to do than sip Starbucks, look out the window, and it was like, how can I ruin your day today? Like,
Okay.
The end of the day, we got out undetected. I didn't have any fleas or ticks or rats biting me.
Oh, good.
I didn't get stuck with a syringe, which, of all places, the only place I've gotten stuck with the syringe, and this was at a fursuit, was at a Wendy's.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
it was a good time. We had some Wendy's at one that wasn't littered with needles, and I had some chicken, and, we had a good laugh about it.
You had a Wendy's that was not littered with needles. That's great. That's a good day right there.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
I guess one other thing I'd like my listeners to know is I always think about where my interest organized with this, and it was actually a pretty odd thing. When I was very young, I used to go a lot of places with my dad. My dad hated graffiti. He was the usual middle-class suburbanite, who wanted everything to look good. Like, he didn't think graffiti was, appealing. He thought it was an eyesore, but he was also a pot smoker.
What? That's interesting. Okay.
Well, this ties in. Well, I was born in '88, and I was 4, 5, 6 years old. So he used to go to bodegas, like corner stores. They had this whole thing about, people who wanted to buy pot. Of course, I couldn't go in there because they didn't want kids in there. They were running a front for drugs. He would usually get me like some chewing gum or an hour later, and he told me to stay outside for 5 minutes and not do anything. This was a seedier area typically when he was, getting his pot. So I was always one, and I still do it to this day, where I'm very observant of what's around me. Looking at the sides of the buildings, looking down the alleys, the tiles of the subway entrance, like, I saw all this cool graffiti, and like, it was just gang tags mainly. It wasn't anything artsy or extravagant, but it appealed to me. I really like it. And, every time, I'd be sitting in the car, or after my dad got his car taken away because he had $4,600 in unpaid speeding and parking tickets.
Okay.
I would just sit outside, and I just got amazed by looking at all this. And, I really liked it. It stuck through me. Like, as I got older, I would go to work with him, or I'd be going to school, or I'd be seeing relatives or friends, and I'd be on the train, and I'd be seeing all this awesome graffiti on billboards, the sides of houses, train tracks, you name it. I'd just be listening to my music, tune out, and just stare at all this awesome stuff. I guess it sort of clicked when I started fursuiting that I really like this stuff. I want to be part of it. I'm not part of the canvas, but, I want to see it, be part of it, admire it, showcase it, tell people it's out there, see it for yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool.
Definitely.
Very cool.
As we come to the end of our time together, I want to wrap this up because I know it's late for you. One of the things I always ask our guests when we end the interview is, if you had to give one wise word of wisdom to the fandom, not just a word, but words, what would you tell everybody?
Just one word. First of all, let's do this in two parts. First of all, one word. You only get one word for this first part.
No, you don't, Taebyn. No.
That's just the first part. And the second part. Okay.
I was going to please both of you. Well, I'll give you the single word, idiosyncratic.
Okay.
Oh, that's a
Nice
good
word.
word. I'm
Nice
going to
word.
work on pronouncing that because I don't think I can. I like that. Barely remind me to work on that word so I can say it on our next recording.
Okay.
I read enough reviews about Audis. I was like, I'm going to have to learn this word.
Yeah, no, see, I'm so with you. We are of like mind.
A word of advice I would say is, it sounds a little played to say be yourself in this fandom, whether you're a suitor or not. But I really can't stress it enough as when I first joined the fandom, I will admit, I thought I had to do certain things like to be noticed or well-liked. And After a few years of it, I sort of gave up and I was just like, why am I doing this? I'm not happy. I mean, I'm happy to a degree, but, I'd be a hell of a lot happier if I just did whatever the hell I want.
There you go.
You know what? As time has gone on, I've cared less about what are others doing to be noticed? What are others doing for this reason or that reason or whatever it may be? Whatever they do, I don't want to rain on anyone's parade. We are free to do whatever we please, but I do whatever the hell I want. And I have my own logic. I'm a bit crazy. I'm eccentric. I don't care. I want to be known for being the crazy one. I want to have this method of madness that, probably one or two people can comprehend. If the others scoff at me, I don't care. If their jaws drop, I feel like I have done something right. Between weird hobbies like road trips or slime making or fursuiting, like the list can go on and on.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be different. That's really my parting words. Just be as weird as you can possibly be, but be comfortable about it.
Nice.
Yep.
Be
That's
yourself, be comfortable, be crazy, because to me, that's what being a furry is all about.
There you go. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. And I can't help but say, when you say that, I am reminded of the wise words of Seal that say, if we're ever going to survive, we must be a little crazy. So there you go.
Well, Goku, thank you for joining us on the show. It's been a great pleasure to have you. You came to us via Lux Operon. She's the one that turned us on to you to say you would be an awesome guest. So shout out to Lux. I don't know if you remember Lux or not, but she...
I do, and I can't thank her enough for the opportunity of putting me in touch with you guys.
Yeah, no, we're doing... Oh, use guys. I love it.
I wondered if you noticed.
I love it.
I have
guys.
So I have one last question. One
Okay.
last very important question. Did you smile again in our time together, Goku?
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Okay.
I showed
Good,
these
good.
very, brown teeth from tobacco, tea, and coffee drinking for the last 15 to 30 years.
Nice, nice.
Okay.
Good.
All
Well,
right.
I'm glad we can help you rediscover those colors.
All right. Well, we're going to let you go. So we're going to say goodbye. Taebyn, want to say goodbye to Goku?
I do want to say thank you so much for being on. It's been a very interesting journey that we've had with you today. And so I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. And I hope to hug you at a con someday.
Can do. Thank you both for the opportunity for letting me speak. I really appreciate it.
Use guys. I tell you what. Hey, I love it.
I
What
thought you might like that.
what an interesting fellow. I'm so glad Lux turned us on to him.
He was a lot of fun to talk to, had a lot of interesting stories, obviously, a lot of interesting things to say, entertaining. Yeah, no, he was, I'm really glad he came on. It was, I'd be looking to talking to him again in the future.
So, Taebyn, will you want to go do urban exploration now?
That sounds a little scary. I think what is the most of that I've done? I had pictures taken of me across the street from TFF one year. I remember that. Oh, when I went to AC and went into the downtown, a few pictures, but I don't know if that counts. So that's about the most I've done. And that's kind of, we'll see what happens in the future.
I've done ghost hunting in the past.
You have? I think I knew this. I think I actually knew this.
Maybe when he comes out to visit, we'll take him urban exploring and ghost hunting at the same time.
Ooh, actually, I might actually be okay with that. That might be fun.
And now it's time for Furries in the News.
Okay. So those were the first.
So the only thing I really have for Furries in the News this week is, again, it's another Telegram issue. Once again, Telegram's in the news.
What happened this time?
They've been removed from the Apple App Store.
And why is that?
Because they were espoused to have purported hate speak. But
well, I'm sure it didn't have anything to do with any furry chats.
Probably not. If you have it, you can still use it. You just can't get it new if you have an Apple device. But
oh wow,
you can get Nicegram which is the third-party version of it that links it all together. That's all I have for furries in the news. I see by our show notes that we have some upcoming events, so I'm going to let you talk about that.
Before I do that, I have 5 quick puns. 5 quick puns. Here we go. 2 antennas met on a roof. They fell in love and got married. The ceremony wasn't much, but the reception was excellent. A jumper cable walks into a bar. The bartender says, "I'll serve you, but don't start anything." 2 peanuts walk into a bar, and one was assaulted. A dyslexic man walks into a bra. And a man walks into a bar with a slab of asphalt under his arm and says, "A beer, please, and one for the road."
Oh.
I did it.
You did it. You did it. So what are the upcoming events? They look like they do events in March, but they must be virtual, so they must have registration or something open now.
Yeah. So the only upcoming events I could really find were a few in March. Bridge Ridge Fur Fair is a North Carolina con, and they're doing it virtually March 12th through 14th. And the theme is 80s Retro Revive, which actually sounds pretty cool because I'm kind of an 80s pop.
Mm-hmm.
The website for anyone that's interested is Blue Ridge Fur Fair, oneword.com. So check it out.
Okay.
And then, of course, TFF. I've talked about this before, but TFF, Texas Furry Fiesta, is coming up virtually March 25 through 28. The theme is Oceanic Adventure. So it's a good way to get your fur and your fluff all wet. Of course, just Google Texas Furry Fiesta and you can find their website. Anyway, that's an up for upcoming events from this pup.
Fabulous. I think it's a week for a story.
It is a week for a story. So this story is called Giraffes Can't Dance, because apparently they can't.
Giraffes can't dance.
Yes, apparently
Okay.
they can't. By Giles Andre and Guy Parker Reese. Giraffe was a tall giraffe whose neck was long and slim, but his knees were awfully crooked and his legs were rather thin. He was very good at standing still and munching shoots off trees, but when he tried to run around, he buckled at the knees. And there's a little picture of him. Well, he's buckling at the knees, and there's a little turtle watching him. It's cute. Now, every year in Africa, they hold the jungle dance, where every single animal turns up a skip and prance. And this year when the day arrived, poor Gerald, he felt so sad because when it came to dancing, he was really very bad. Wow, like me. Apparently we should get together. The warthogs started waltzing and the rhinos rock and rolled. The lions danced a tango that was elegant and bold. The chimps all did a cha-cha with a very Latin feel. And 8 baboons then teamed up for a splendid Scottish reel. Gerald swallowed bravely as he walked towards the floor, but the lions saw him coming, and they soon began to roar. "Hey, look!" clumsy Gerald. The animals all sneered. "Giraffes can't dance, you silly fool! Oh, Gerald, you're so weird!" Gerald simply froze up. He was rooted to the spot. "They're right," he thought. "I'm useless. Oh, I feel like such a clot." Whatever a clot is, but there it is. So he crept off from the dance floor, and he started walking home. He never felt so sad before. So sad and so alone. Then he found a little clearing, and he looked up in the sky. "The moon can be so beautiful," he whispered with a sigh. "Excuse me," coughed a cricket who'd seen Gerald earlier on. "But sometimes when you're different, you just need a little song. Listen to the swaying grass and listen to the trees. To me, the sweetest music is those branches in the breeze. So imagine that the lovely moon is playing just for you. Everything makes music, if you really wanted to." With that, the cricket smiled and picked up his violin. Then Gerald felt his body do the most amazing thing. His hooves had started shuffling, making circles on the ground. His neck was gently swaying, and his tail was swishing around. He threw his legs out sideways, and he swung them everywhere. Then he did a backward somersault and leapt up in the air. Gerald felt so wonderful, his mouth was open wide. "I'm dancing! Yes, I'm dancing! I am dancing!" Gerald cried. Then one by one, each animal who'd been there at the dance arrived while Gerald boogied on and watched him, quite entranced. They shouted, "It's a miracle! We must be in a dream! Gerald's the best dancer that we have ever seen. How did you learn to dance like that? Please, Gerald, tell us how." But Gerald simply twirled around and finished with a bow. Then he raised his head up and looked up at the moon and the stars above. We all can dance, he said, when we find the music that we love. The end.
Aw, Gerald learned how to dance.
But in the end, he says, we can all dance, he said, when you find music that we love. And so he started out being a giraffe that couldn't dance or do anything. But finally, he found the music he loved. He found his passion, and then he could dance. He could do the art form that he so wished he could do. So I think what we learned from this is sometimes you just got to find your passion. We don't know what it is yet. It takes some time, but once you find your passion, that will motivate you and help you to find what you love, and then you just feel it and you do it, and it's all beautiful.
All right, so let's move on to trivia, shall we?
We shall move on to trivia. That's right, because we've been talking a lot. We've had a lot of things, so...
We're going to alternate every other week now.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Which means it's going to take us twice as long to get through that really bad joke book. So...
That's exactly what I was just thinking.
But that's okay. That's all right. Okay, are you ready to get your puppy logic brain activated?
My puppy logic is... Give it a second. Okay, it's working again. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. We're spinning the wheel. And the question is going to be in the category of entertainment. In 1968, there was a British supergroup released a single called The White Room. What was the British supergroup?
Well, in 1968, that's when my really bad joke book was published. So the answer must be the Beatles.
No, it was Cream.
Oh, I was not really close, but
not really close at all. There we go. So, all right, we're going to spin the wheel once again.
That puppy logic totally failed me. Well, I blame the really bad joke book. It totally failed me right there.
All right, the category is sports. Are you ready?
I am ready. Well, I'm never ready for sports.
Well, you're never ready for sports. No. So we'll see if you can puppy logic this in there.
Okay.
What National Hockey League trophy is awarded to the Rookie of the Year?
If it's a rookie, it must have to do with a chess game, but it's not a rook, it's a rookie. So it's a tiny little chess game. So we must be talking about, of course, Magnus Carlsen is like the total chess genius right now. So Magnus Carlsen moved his little rookie this year. And what was the question again?
What's the name of the trophy that the National Hockey League gives to the Rookie of the Year?
Oh, right. Well, Magnus Carlsen, he always liked to plant his silver in a rutabaga tree, so it must be a papaya plant.
No, it was the Calder Trophy.
Oh, I was so close, because Calder is like there is a cauliflower there, and they relate to papaya, not really, but they do. So I was so close.
You were close. We're going to spin the wheel again. See what we come up with this time. You could have said, because it's ice, it was colder.
Oh,
there you go.
And my puppy logic did not take me there, though.
Did take you there. Okay, we're going to talk about history now.
Not her tree. That actually reminds me. I had a question for you that I forgot.
Uh-oh.
Do you prefer to talk to Miss Understood or Mr. Understood?
I prefer to talk to their understood.
There you go. Okay.
There you go.
The question is answered, and I feel better for it.
The history question is, what is considered the first dynasty of China, which was founded by Yu the Great and lasted from about 2070 to 1600 BC? Think of some dynasties from China. So what do you think?
Oh, the puppy logic says we've got dynasty. So that means we're talking about the Wall Street Journal, because there was a book, the Dianetics, and for some reason I connect Dianetics with the Wall Street Journal, and I don't even know what the word Dianetics means. But because the dynasty, we have the Wall Street Journal, which means that on a street you have all these walls you can't get over. And so if you're riding a horse, that's how you get over the walls, because the horse stop and you fly over all the walls, and then you land in the Planet newspaper building. What was the question again?
Give me a Chinese dynasty. Anyone, I don't care.
Hugh Grant.
No, it was the Xi dynasty.
Oh, see, I lost my train of thought. My puppy logic was totally going to work because I was getting to the Planet newspaper and everything, and in newspapers you find the letter G, so that was going to totally get me there. But I lost train of thought, so I went with Hugh Grant.
Okay, so the category, it is literature.
It be lit up with the literature.
Literature lit up. So, who wrote the 1897 novel?
This is not going my way tonight.
No, it's not at all. Who wrote the 1897 novel What Maisie Knew? I'll give you a hint. The author's name is a man's name, and you would say it's two first names, like Albert Tom or something.
So we'll go with Vladimir Putin, because Putin is
another first name. It's not. No, it was not Vladimir Putin. It was Henry James.
Okay, Henry James the Fifth, aka Vladimir Putin.
Last question. Are you ready?
I don't know. By the way, things have been going for me tonight, but we'll try it. We'll see.
We'll give it a shot. Okay, right. This is geography.
Oh, hey, so this might go well because we already talked about G's being in the newspaper, and this is the geography version of the Planet newspaper that Clark Kent worked at. So this is going to go well, I think.
You might actually know this answer. The Pierre Elliott Trudeau. The international airport, by that name, is 12 miles from which major city that it serves?
Well, so Clark Kent apparently flew on those airlines, and he lived next to Zimbabwe.
We talked to a fur that was from there not too long ago. It's to our neighbors to our north.
Oh,
Trudeau.
Edmonton.
Yes.
So would this be hold on. East is Quebec.
Montreal.
Okay. Montreal, Quebec. Yeah, I said Quebec.
Well, no, Montreal is the city. Quebec is the province.
Oh, but it's not. Oh, Montreal. Oh, I see. Okay. It's not, like you have an airport in a city, not like there's this huge airport in a province.
Country.
Okay. Oh my cow.
All right. Well, that concludes the trivia, and that concludes our podcast.
Well, the conclusion has happened with the stuff, and the villagers rejoice with big, huge clamorings of their posies, and they have no idea what I'm talking about, and that is how it goes, my friends.
Well, on today's podcast, we had a lot of fun. We had mail. We had mail. We had mail. We had a 5-minute fur. We had some fun. We had lots of stuff. We loafed.
I had a lot of horrible, just
big words.
I talked.
Yeah.
And that happened.
But I think we're doing a good thing, don't you, Taebyn? Don't you think we're doing a good thing?
I do think we're doing a good thing. We wag, we like doing this. We have fun every week to do this. We've had some furs say they like it, and that's really cool. That's kind of, we want to entertain and we want to help keep be a part of keeping the community together in whatever way we can. And yeah, I think we're doing good stuff. So, and I wag. I totally wag.
You wag. All right. Well, all right, Taebyn. Well, it's time for your sign off. So I'm going to give my sign off. So goodbye, every fur, and until next week, remember to stay furry.
And I will say, so every fur, thank you so much for listening, especially if you made it this far. I hope we entertained you. I hope you liked it. Thank you so much for listening. It really means a lot to us. Someday we'll hug in the fluff, definitely. But until then, I feel we can keep connected with things like this. And so thank you so much. It means a lot. It really, really, really means a lot to us that you're listening and all that. And especially listening to me, wow, really? You're still listening? Are you still listening to? Anyway, send us an email or something about why you listen to us and why you can actually stay. Is it a masochistic thing? Is that why you're listening to me? Anyway, thank you so much. We love you. We hug you tight with posies. And until next week, bark, bark. Have a wonderful week. Good night.
Barely Furcasting is an Injured Nerves studio production and is found on all major podcast platforms or can be heard directly at barelyfurcasting.com. The opinions expressed here are those of the hosts and their guest and no commercial compensation was granted. The Furcast is produced, recorded, and directed by me, Barely Normal, aka Mike Vegan, and is edited by myself and our associate editors Rain Raccoon and Canes. Opening and closing theme music, as well as some interstitial music, was created for Injured Nerves Productions for the use on the podcast by our music associate Reg Day with Damian Tanuki. Other interstitial and background music by Shane Ivers through silvermansound.com and the YouTube Free Use Library. If you would like to send us a message, you can do so via email at barelyfurcasting@gmail.com or on our Telegram chat at BFFTchat, on Twitter or on our Facebook page, or on the barelyfurcasting.com webpage. You can help support the show through donations at ko-fi.com/barelyfurcasting or through Patreon at patreon.com/barelyfurcasting. Thanks for listening. We hope you come back and listen next week.